Welcome to the fourth and final video in this particular series, which has been about key investing skills. And the key investing skill I want to talk about in video 4 is judgment. Now, just to set the scene, like I've done in the other videos, 1, 2, and 3, the best investors think a certain way. All right, and that is something I can expand on and have done. They develop certain skills and knowledge, and they practice, okay? And one of the things that they need to develop, if you like, is judgment. Now, you might think, I've got perfectly sound judgment, thanks, Tim, but actually in investing terms, what do I mean by that? Let's have a few examples. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I do that in other videos, so I'm not going to try and bore anyone who's seen those videos, but it requires judgment to follow the 3 pots approach to long-term planning, for example. How much is going to go in my rainy day fund? Even that requires a bit of judgment. What are the foreseeable calls on capital I've got to watch out for? And how am I going to set aside the funds that might pay for them? And how am I going to dynamically change those funds as I reach those cash commitments? And what is my long-term saving strategy for the rest of my money going to look like? How much risk do I want in there? What time frame am I talking about? So, I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but lots of judgments required here. It's not a completely automated, brainless process. What about investing life cycle? A really key question as part of that is, for how long do I think I need and want to accumulate funds and wealth? Where will the peak savings point in my life be, and when I'm going to start accumulating? And that's not the same necessarily as working and retiring in the old-fashioned sense. It's more about, what do I need to do, probably through work, mainly in the early years, to accumulate, hit the peak that I need, and there's a way to work out how much that is potentially, and then draw it down in a way that funds my life after work, leave something for the kids, whatever the objective might be. And then there's example 3, if you like, investment styles. Am I going to go for income or growth? Am I going to go active or passive? Am I going to go high risk, low risk, balanced risk, and so on? So how do you develop judgment? How do you get better at this kind of stuff? Well, funnily enough, that's what this series has been all about. I haven't covered everything by any means. Video 1, visualization, knowing what your future self might look like, what your future self might need, and then mapping how you're going to help that stranger, as some people see it, but actually it's going to be you. Patience. How do you make sure you don't do silly things that will damage your long-term chances of investing success? That's video 2. Self-awareness, being realistic about what you do and don't know, being realistic about how much you want to do yourself as opposed to give somebody else. That was video 3. Okay, so how can we start to think about developing better judgment, if you like, in terms of as we go through investing? It's a dynamic process. You learn as you go. Things to pick up along the way. How do markets work? How long do cycles last? How often do we get booms and busts? The past isn't a guarantee of the future. That's useful. And understanding different approaches to investing that I mentioned earlier on. If you're thinking income versus capital, active, passive, there are videos I can reference at the end that tell you more about that. And then experience. So developing knowledge of markets and approaches to investing, and then experience. Now, you can't learn experience, but if you've been through some market cycles, for example, interest rate cycles, when the property market might have been under a bit of stress, like it is as I make this video, that helps. It helps you to react to the next one. And correcting errors. In other words, as you make mistakes, we all make mistakes, how are you reacting to them? What are you doing about them? So my tips would be to finish this video, to develop knowledge and experience. It's not easy. Keep asking questions, be inquisitive, keep reviewing decisions you've made in the past and are making now, and keep learning. And I would say that because I'm head of education at Killick, but do read the quarterly magazine Confidant. Do read these how-to guides next to me. There are just 2 of the 6 next to me, and do watch my videos. Now, to give you some reference sources, the video library in reverse order, killick.com/learn. And for the collateral I mentioned, it would be editor@killick.com.